Well, hello everybody. This is your host Scorpion LLXP Sports, talking to you on a Monday morning about the Cleveland Browns versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And this game was it. This was it. Now they're in complete sell mode. I mean, we're gonna get right into it right now, guys. Zedarius, it was a great run while we had you here. I'm sorry we're not going to be able to keep you, man. You're probably going to go. Um, Probably going to lose Greg Newsome. You could probably get maybe like a third rounder for him because he's still young and could be developed. So third or fourth for him maybe. Zedarius is definitely gone, and it's a shame. It's a real shame what happened to this team. The Jameis hype lasted a week. I came down to earth pretty quick on that. This whole game was just trash. Um, we saw Jameis throw 3 touchdowns and 334 yards for this team last week against, admittedly, a very bad Ravens defense. You go from 32nd in the league to the best in the league. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty, but my God, it was not good for the majority of the game. Now, I'll say this. People can say whatever they want about, oh, this person didn't do this and this person didn't do this. The defensive line showed up. Myles Garrett with 3 sacks. So Michael Hall had a few chase downs in there. Obo and Isaiah McGuire both looked pretty solid, at least in my eyes. I mean, I was there. Mohamed Diabate was still making plays all over the field. Our coverage was abysmal. Ward, you're better than this. Emerson, you've been getting burned all year. I don't know what your deal is. Juan Thornhill is just not a good safety in general, and I feel bad saying that. I do like him, but he has been terrible. Delpit, I will say, had a solid game. Made a lot of key tackles in key moments. I'll say Delpit is very solid. I'm glad we're keeping him around. This team's a mess. They are a mess. You need a quarterback desperately in this draft, and you need to hit on the quarterback. This is not a draft where you can miss on a quarterback. You need a quarter. You need this. The good part is I did see is Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy seem to be developing well. They're solid young wide receivers. A lot. Oh, there's another one on the trailer. Elijah Moore, dude, come on. You had hands last week. I don't know where they went this week. They apparently you have one game a year where you look great. Okay, you're probably traded as well. My prediction where he's gonna go. Mm, Excuse me. I'm gonna say he's probably gonna go to a contender. Watch him go to the Chiefs. Watch him go to the Chiefs and have 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in his first game. I'm telling you. I cannot believe how bad this team has become. Winston had a bad game today. I mean, that's what happened. But that's the risk you take. There's people out there, defending Deshaun Watson's play and doing all that. No, I will. Winston had one bad game here. He also threw for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Given it was against a terrible Ravens secondary, what? Okay, answer me this: anyone who was a Deshaun Watson defender in any way, any any way, shape, or form, what would he have done? What? What's Deshaun Watson doing out there? Not any better than Winston. Not any better. So I can't understand the logic of why people are still defending him. I don't understand it. The dude could barely he could barely throw in the middle of the field against the Commanders. The Commanders secondary is not that good. Now Commanders are a great team this year. They really really are. Their secondary is not. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, if Deshaun Watson started against the Ravens last week, he would have got pummeled and we would have lost. There is zero reason to be defending him at all. Whoever is defending him at this point, I'm convinced is just trolling. There is no excuse why you're still defending this man. This man has done nothing for this team for 3 years. And if he had any amount of dignity left, if he wanted to sail off into the little bit of a sunset that he could have left with the guaranteed money that he has with this team, he could say, "Hey, this is a career-ending injury. I will be retiring from the NFL. The Browns can void my contract." That is the best case scenario for this man. That's it. What else can we do? This dude's shown us nothing. Nothing. For 3 years. We even fired our coaches and hired the coaches that he picked out and still didn't perform. That is not on coaching. That is not on scheme. That is all on him. All on him. And anyone that wants to say, it's Stefanski. Guess what? Stefanski has his own problems, but Deshaun Watson does not make them better. The great quarterbacks battle through adversity. And you battle through that. And you're down by a certain amount. The great quarterbacks can lift up your team. When was Deshaun Watson lifting up this freaking team? Ever. He never did a damn thing to lift up this team. He was sitting and pouting on the sidelines like a bitch. Like a little bitch. And no one, not a single person, can defend that. At least Jameis Winston, he's hilarious. You can at least get something out of him. I know it's probably a little bit of an act that he puts on, that nice, monologuing persona thing. But at least it gets guys hyped up. What the fuck is Deshaun Watson doing? Nothing. He is a poor excuse and a terrible excuse of a freaking quarterback for this freaking team. He's terrible. He is terrible. And he didn't even play today, and that's how terrible he is. Because I'm still talking about him. That's how bad he is. So anyone that wants to criticize Jameis Winston for one bad game against the league's number one ranked defense, shut your fucking mouth. Because it wouldn't have been any better with Deshaun out there. And none of you, not a single one of you, can tell me otherwise. Not a single person. Any moron on Twitter want to show me those stats? Any idiot want to show me, how many three touchdown games does Deshaun Watson have? 0, because he doesn't have a fucking thing. Now, how many 300-yard games does Jameis Winston have? 1. How many 3 interceptions games does he have? 1. How many does Deshaun Watson have? 0. Okay, cool. He has not thrown in 3 interceptions in the game. That is good for him. Good for him. Terrible. I'm sorry I went on that little side rant there about him. I went on Twitter today and I just see people ripping Jameis Winston apart. And I understand he didn't have a great game. But then idiots on there are saying Deshaun would have played better. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. In those 3 years, in these 3 years that he's been with this team, what can you even point to say that he would play better? What, that second half against the Ravens? Oh man, I'm shaking. Up yours, whoever fucking says that too. Second worst trade in NFL history. Herschel is still worse just because the Texans haven't won a Super Bowl. If the Texans win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, Deshaun Watson's worse. Without a doubt, that's worse. And now the Browns are literally going to be in quarterback purgatory. If you're a quarterback, why would you ever sign here? Like, let's be honest. Why would you sign here? Why would you play here? We're literally we can't develop a quarterback to save our life. It's ridiculous. This team drives me absolutely insane. Anyway, back to the game. Um, Talked about the coverage. Nick Chubb. I mean, guys, whoever expects him to come have 100 yards, 150 yards and 3 touchdowns is fooling themselves. I mean, when I was on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I did say he would have a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. I didn't say he'd bust out a big run. I said he'd have 75 yards, if that. He's coming off one of the worst injuries I've seen out of a Cleveland Browns player. One of the worst. He tore every CL in his leg. It's ridiculous. Myles Garrett showed up. I mean, he continues to show why he's the best. And I know he kind of went silent for a bit, for a few stretches there. Well, guess what? He had a hurt foot. You know, he's hurt and he's still outperforming guys out there. He's still getting the pressures. He's getting freaking, choked out of his mind every single play, and no ref wants to call it because they don't care. I mean, that happened like 4 different times today, and he got the sack 3 out of those 4 times, which is crazy. I I am infuriated with this team right now because they are wasting. We are doing exactly what we did with Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas never got a ring. He never left Cleveland, and that was his biggest Achilles heel. The dude is a Hall of Famer, and we couldn't give him a ring. I mean, that's sad. We're doing the same thing to Garrett. We're doing the same thing to Ward. We're doing the same thing to Chubb. We're doing the same thing to Batonio. Those are 4 guys that could potentially be in Canton. Garrett for sure. Batonio, maybe. Chubb, definitely a maybe. I mean, I would personally say yes, but still a maybe. Hall of Fame is a big honor. He's definitely a Hall of Very Good. I can't. I can't believe that we got spanked this bad. Oh, one thing I do want to say about the Chargers though. Guys, their fan base, they showed up, man. I mean, Chargers fans showed up to the game. I was very impressed. Very, very impressed. You know, and yeah, they were talking smack about us the majority of the game, but it don't matter. I mean, we do it the same. I was very impressed. Chargers fans, you should be proud. You have a proud fan base there. They are way better than them Ravens. I barely saw a soul there that was a Ravens fan. I saw like 20 people. Chargers fans, it was like a healthy mix. Like, good. Excuse me. So sorry. Let's see. What else? What else we really got? I mean, we really got like it's it's just Jameis. I mean, that's we're taking a gamble with Jameis being there to begin with. We knew this was gonna happen at least at some point. I just didn't think it was gonna happen so freaking quick. But I mean, the Chargers are the number one ranked defense in the league right now. They are playing very well, especially like in against the pass. I mean, every single guy just no receivers got open, and the few times they did, Jameis either overthrew him or it was a nice completion. You know, it was it was a rough day. But Judy looked fine. Tillman looked fine. I think Tillman didn't complete his route like 2 3 times. People want to get up in arms about that. He had a good game. Okay, he was fine. He'll get better. Elijah Moore stank. The line was decent overall. I mean, Jedrick Wills had to come in there for a bit, and he looked awful. But Dewan came in the next drive and looked fine. So the only person I think really did this team a disservice today was I'm not even gonna say Jameis. Wyatt Teller had a bad game. He was not good at all. He was rough. He was rough. Dewan was okay. He had like a holding penalty that would have been a nice play from Jameis, but not a big deal. I think this team's definitely going down quick. You need better out of your quarterback play. Jameis will do better next week, hopefully. You're not going against the number one ranked passing defense, so that's fine. This team could be so much better. This team could be so much better. They gotta develop something, guys. I'm running out of stuff to talk about with this team that's at least remotely positive. I mean, at least we have a third round wide receiver that we can develop now, so that's nice. Jamari Thrash suited up and was out there for the last quarter. That was nice to see. That was it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Sorry, this rant was kind of all over the place, and I spent 7 of it talking about how much I despise people on Twitter defending Deshaun Watson for Jameis having one bad game when Deshaun Watson has had like every game he's played has been bad except for like 2.5. Right? Yeah. All right. That's gonna do it for me, guys. You guys have a good one. Stay safe. Go Browns. Go Cavs. Cavs are still undefeated.